I want to talk about ageism and how the mess of age permeates our society and basically alters your life for the rest of your life. It's really weird because if you live long enough, you're going to age. You're aging every day of your life. And I find that the older I get, the more gray hairs I get, the more wrinkling of the face, the more problems I have just in general. And, I feel like this, okay? I'm not laying blame. I'm just stating what I observe and what I'm experiencing. When it comes to basic things in life like gaining useful employment, dating, interacting with family, and even some friends. The older I get, the harder that gets. A lot of it is you have people who look at you if you're a certain age and they just feel like, oh, you're useless, or, oh, you're beyond your peak. And here's the thing. I love 20 and 30-year-olds. The 20 and 30-year-olds in my life are amazing people. I learn all the time from them. However, the young do not have the monopoly on being bright, fun, charismatic, intelligent individuals. There are people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and yes, 100s that have all of those qualities and more. Because we have some life experience to back up some things. Because we've fallen on our faces and made mistakes and tried to correct them. And we have nuggets and pearls of wisdom to share in the hopes that other people will not fall into the same traps. But I find that there's this pressure to look a certain way. And, I thought I had conquered this with a couple of things. I thought, oh, well, okay, there's this pressure to look more, I don't know, what word am I looking for? European? Or more exotic, like to have a look where no one can really tell what race or ethnicity you are. There was this propensity at one point for the ultra thin to win. And now, body shaming still happens, unfortunately. However, there's more of a push to embrace all body types now, whether you are plus size or whether you are naturally thin, whether you have an athletic build or, super size is what I like to call this size. And I mean it in every respect of the word. There are people who have beautifully voluptuous bodies. There are people who have large, voluminous bodies. And aside from any health concerns, I think it's all beautiful, So yeah, I went through a lot as a young person and as a young adult in trying to work through body image, body shaming, body dysmorphia issues. When I look at it now, when I initially had these problems, I was still thin. Now that I'm actually what society would consider plus size, I embrace it because I look in the mirror and I still realize, okay, I may be a larger person than, say, some people, but I still have curves. I still have an hourglass figure. I embrace that. I'm happy about it. I realize I'm a woman, and as some circles say, my curves be kicking, you know? I have larger breasts. I have a large butt. Compared to some people. I have thick thighs. I have these things. With diet and exercise, sometimes I can minimize the size of my body. But since I've been an adult, the lowest size I've worn is a US size 12. And that's at the peak of doing everything to be as healthy as I could. You know, I was in the gym all the time. I believe it was like 5 days minimum. At times it was 7 days. And I was working out 90 minutes a day. 4 of those days I had a trainer. Like, I was not even kidding around. I was walking miles from the parking lot to my university for classes in 110 plus degree heat at times. The weight was not staying on me at all. I was making a lot of my own foods, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. I was really being healthy with my choices and what I was doing. And I was not super young. I was about 30 at the time. I felt good about myself. I felt empowered. I had a lot of energy. However, I was dating someone at the time who was still putting me down a lot, but this person had his own issues. And when I realized, hey, this isn't going to work, we parted ways. And, so I thought I had conquered that. Body image, weight, all of that with the whole how my appearance is. Then I thought in recent years that I had conquered hair texture issues. You know, there's this whole natural hair movement in the African American, Black, mixed race, etc. community that I wish were happening when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I had problems dealing with my own hair. As a lot of people do, I have multiple textures in my head, but for the most part, I have curly hair. Some of my hair does kind of a, S curl type shape. Some of my hair does like a zigzag pattern, like a loose zigzag, I guess. And then I have strands in my hair that are bone straight. I mean, there's no wave in some of it. There's no curl. There's no nothing. Like, every now and again, when I go through my hair, there's that. So in order to make my hair texture basically look predominantly all the same, all one, there are things that I do. You know, I will wash, dry my hair, twist it up. I will wash, dry my hair, braid it up. I use leave-in conditioners. I like doing the lock system for the most part. Basically a leave-in, oil, and then some kind of cream. My hair seems to like that and appreciate it, and it keeps it moisturized and happy. So that's just what I do. And because I've learned ways to deal with my hair, I love my hair. However, the one thing that's starting to really creep up is the graying of my hair. A lot of my hair is graying. I mean, it's primarily in the front, but I have some gray all over. I first had my first gray hair when I thought 12. My mom told me I was about 10 when she noticed the first one. I'm like, oh, great. So I have been graying for quite a while. I would like it. I would appreciate it. I would embrace it if I didn't feel like it were limiting me in some ways. Everybody's like, why don't you dye it? Why don't you color it? Put a rinse in it, something. I don't want to put chemicals in my hair. I feel like it's my hair. I should be able to live my life. But when you have this hair, if you don't cover it up with a wig or, put some type of temporary dye in it or permanent dye, which is going to really wreak havoc on your hair, then people don't want to hire you. They don't even, you can't even get to first base. And bonus, I live in the desert and it's hot right now, like 113, 114, 115. Putting a wig on a head full of hair, whew, it just makes you hot. So I tend not to do that. And it's difficult. It's really difficult. So I now haven't dated in quite a while. I think part of it is I have gray in my hair. Most men my age won't give me the time of day. A lot of men that are younger than I am are like, oh, ma'am, here you go. Let me help you. And I appreciate the help and the good manners and the good graces. I love it. But a lot of them aren't looking at me as a potential date because they see gray in my hair. A lot of people wouldn't think of me as having the potential to make a child and bear a child because I have gray in my hair. But as far as I know, that potential's still there. You know, I have no reason other than age to think that I don't have that potential. I'll just say it like that. Now you have women who are a lot older than I am giving birth. And, you know, some of them are using different means to do that. And there are times when spontaneously egg plus sperm equals baby in an older woman. And that's through the old-fashioned way, like no lab, no hormones, no anything. Just periodically you hear of this and it's like, okay, wow, good for them that, you know, they're having this baby. And often when I hear of this, the people are like, oh my God, I never thought I'd have a child. Or, oh my gosh, I thought we were all done with having children. And now, you know, we have this little miracle here. This is so cool. Then you have other people who are like shocked by it. Like, oh my gosh, what? How am I going to do? This is going to uproot my life. I feel like every life is precious and every child that comes is meant to be here. That's just how I feel. But the mess of age, it's something else. It's something else. So how do you feel about the mess of age? As you get older, do you feel like you have a shelf life? Do you feel like that it's harder to make friends? It's harder to date? It's harder to get meaningful jobs? Well, I hate to say jobs. Again, just so we're broke. No, we're looking for careers. We're looking for work that allows us to have meaningful, wonderful lives. Tell me about your experience with aging. And you can be any age. And hey, I know ageism happens when you're younger too, because I experienced that when I was young. You know, I was in my 20s, fresh out of college. I had different companies that wouldn't hire me because of my age. I had different men that wouldn't date me because of my age, because they felt I was too young. I was in one relationship in which the man was a lot older than I, and everybody had something to say about that. You know, everyone that I knew that knew it, because they're like, oh, what? He's so much older. You're so much younger. You can get someone young, blah, blah, blah. But I have to say that the man treated me with dignity and respect, and I treated him with dignity and respect, and I was with him for who he was, and that was the only reason I was with him. So anyway, and by that I mean, you know, it wasn't a, oh, what can he do for me financially thing. I was with him because I enjoyed his company and I ended up loving him, and, you know, I fell for him. That's the only reason I was with him. It was no ulterior motives. So I realized that when you're younger, that people think you can't do anything either. So if your feedback is on that, tell me that. You know, what is it like to be younger and have people constantly think that because you're younger, you're not capable? What is it like, middle-aged people, Gen X? What is it like for you to have people think that because, oh, she must be having a middle-age crisis. He must be having a middle-age crisis. Look, dyes in the hair, got a motorcycle. What's up? What's up? What is that like for you? Seniors. If I have any seniors listening, what is it like for you to feel like you want to keep working, you want to keep having a good time and socialize and all of those things, but then perhaps you're feeling the pressure to retire. Or perhaps you are in the boat of, oh, I'm of retirement age, but I don't have enough money to retire, or I don't have things set up in the way that I had hoped, so I have to keep working. What is that like for you? Do you have fewer viable opportunities because you are of a certain age and people are, I guess, penalizing you for it? Let's share, everybody. I want to hear what you have to say.